Hey, hello out there. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's having a great Friday and a very good weekend. Well, let's see. Let's see. What can we talk about today? Well, I don't want to get into politics, and that. Let's see. We can talk about. Well, check this out. You know, the World Cup of soccer is going to be held this November in Qatar, a country in the Middle East. Well, it turns out that that if you that if you get caught having sex with anybody who isn't your wife or husband, you're going to go to jail for maybe 7 years. Yes. I mean, they don't tolerate that stuff over there, because of the Islamic laws and all that kind of. I mean, even if it's consensual sex between two adults, it's illegal. They must be married. Mhm. Okay, so that's what it is. Hey, so that's how it is. I mean, if you get caught, hey, what's up, coach? Thanks for coming by, man. Yeah. See if I can get anybody to come up here. Mhm. Coach, since you're a sports fan, that you heard about the World Cup this year. Well, it turns out that if then in Qatar, it's in the Middle East, and they go by Islamic laws, that it's illegal for someone to have sex with a person who is not their husband or wife. So that means if somebody goes thinking, well, I'm going to have a one night stand, you better watch out. I mean, he or she better watch out. I mean, they may face uh, 70 years in the slammer. Yes, yes, 70 years. I bet that they do have the same law in Saudi Arabia also. Yeah, 7 years in the slammer. Yeah. So it's not going to be as fun to go watch the games. I mean, people are used to partying all night long. I mean, when they go watch these games. And not only that, I mean, you can't even drink alcohol. Well, I don't know about the alcohol, but man, remember like in the Persian Gulf, this guy who was serving, during the Gulf War, his wife sent him a bottle of whiskey, and when it got to Saturday, and when he got it, he had to uh, um, give it up. Yeah, yep, yep, yeah, man. You know, it's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I saw. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and and that's what all these World Cups are for. I mean, they got to get drunk. I mean, people go there to get drunk every day and celebrate and dance on the street. Ah, I mean, the World Cup's supposed to be happening right now, but since the country's high temperatures during the summer, they say let's have it in November instead. Yeah, they have it every day. Drunk. Yeah. Well, this year is going to be in November. The U.S. will play England, Iran, and Wales. Yeah, they're going to play. Yeah. Hey, coach, the wrestling. If you're looking for new moves and wrestling styles, I can teach you one of them. One of them is they call the Filomena kick. Actually, this kick was pioneered by a wrestler named Murcielago Velasquez back in the I think in the 1940s back in Mexico. He based it. Oh, cool. Me too. I went to the one in L.A. when Colombia was defeated by the U.S. and later they shot that guy who scored who put the goal in the wrong goalpost. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I was telling you about it. It's called a Filomena, and the Filomena is it's uh it's a kick that was pioneered by this wrestler called Mochilo Velasquez, which means the bat Velasquez. And this kick consists of a it looks like what's the name of that Brazilian martial arts? That it's kind of like that. Psh, psh. Yeah, the kick, the Filomena. Yeah, yeah. This guy wrestler was kind of a he was in a way a weird guy. When he came to the ring at one time, he would come with his mask and cape, and when he got on the ring and when he got up into the ring, he would open his cape, and bats will come out flying, and people actually thought, man, this guy is possessed, or he's a devil himself. People ran from the arena, man. Yeah, yeah. He wasn't even. I mean, this guy. If you see him, if I mean, he died in 1971 or 72 back there, but he didn't look like a weirdo, man. He looked like an average person, like somebody's dad, like somebody's uncle, grandfather. But he was a very smart guy. He was a former cop who turned wrestler. He was the first guy to lose the mask because in Mexico, the mask, the bet of the mask is one of the most important championships. I mean, they're not worried about winning the title. They worry of losing their mask or they're losing their hair when they have that match between. It's called the bet. I said, if you win, you get my mask. I take my mask off and I reveal who I am, my name, and everything. If I lose, okay. And those wrestling matches will take place, like say for example, two to three falls, two to three falls. Whoever wins two falls in a row wins automatically. And if the first fall, if you win one fall, you win one fall. But if you the second fall is won by your opponent, well now it's up to the third fall, which will determine the winner. Yeah, those wrestling matches they're very good. The best one they had was in 1952 was El Santo against Black Shadow. Black Shadow, I think they say was a heavy favorite to win. I mean, people wanted to see the wrestling match. I mean, people were even outside, and just to find out who won, or how's the match going on. I mean, TV was only at its infancy. There was no cable. It was only radio and newspapers, and people wanted to find out who lost, who won or lost that match. It happened in 1952 at the Carlos Arena Coliseo in Mexico City. This November 7th of 1952. Yeah. Coach. You know how long that that match lasted. You're not gonna believe it. 70 minutes. Blood splashing all over. The wrestlers continue to fight. 70 minutes it lasted. Yeah. I mean, so sad. There isn't a film that was of it. There isn't nothing to so you can watch it. I mean, you can watch from a Joe Louis fight from which is older than that. Oh, but I mean, that is so sad. You can't even watch it because I don't think nobody recorded it on film or anything. Really, I wish I would have seen that match. Yeah, the hair match. Yeah, the hair match. This is different. That means if a wrestler doesn't have a mask, he or she, if he loses the match, has to cut his or her hair. Yeah, that's right. The old black and white boxing matches. Yeah, I mean, you can watch them from that. I mean, they were box, from that era. I mean, but the one that I'm talking about was the one that Black Shadow and El Santo fought in 1952. The wrestling. That's the one I can't believe it. You can't find a film or something. Nobody has filmed that, but damn, it was some people, according to history of wrestling history, they say it was one of the bloodiest matches, in wrestling. Yeah, and you also had the uh, the wrestling at the Cuatro Caminos arena. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. That's true, Coach. In the 1970s, there was this boxing promotion called UAW or something like that was called, and they would make matches at a place called El Toreo de Cuatro Caminos, the Four Ways Arena, Cuatro Caminos Arena, which was an old bullring arena that was a close. I mean, it was open in 1905 or '06, and in 1968 it closed its doors. But like in the early '70s, several investors and companies decided to make that into a wrestling arena. I mean, it was so successful. They brought wrestlers from all over the world, the best wrestlers from Japan, the U.S., Mexico, Central and South America, Asia. They came to fight. You had guys like Andre the Giant fought there, Bam Bam Bigelow fought there, Hulk Hogan fought there. I don't know if Ric Flair ever fought there, but Antonio Inuki. I don't know if you ever heard of him from Japan. He fought there. Uh, Ran Hamada from he fought there too. The best in the world, and this was the time when, as this was around the same time when McMahon was starting his WWE wrestling. Yeah, and people were saying, "Oh man, that's fake. That stuff." Yeah, but I mean, the matches were always packed, and yeah, and those matches were filled with blood and everything. Yeah, yeah, a lot of guys. There were these tag team wrestlers called. They used to call them the missionaries of death. They used to call them. There were these guys who. I mean, they were not big. They were actually short, but they were mean. They were like mean. One was called the sign or something, and one was called El Negro Navarro. As a matter of fact, one of them fought in the L.A. circuit before Righteous at the beginning around like the 1981 or 82. And this guy was a really tough guy, really, really tough wrestler. He fought against Mando Guerrero. And that fight, you can find it on YouTube. One of the best matches you'll ever see. I see. And he fought in the LA circuit. Because there was, back then, remember the Texas, the Florida, the Tennessee, the Oregon, the New England. And that's where McMahon started. His dad started there. And he fought. And the Signal, there were three guys. Okay, there was a Negro Navarro, the Signal, and the last guy was El Tejano, the Texan. He was, and they were called as the missionaries of death. You know why they were called the missionaries of death? Because uh, they fought against El Santo. Santo in Mexico was one of the biggest wrestlers. He is the most iconic, the most popular wrestler of all time. He's like, for example, like the Elvis of wrestling. More popular, way more popular when Ric Flair was around or Hulk Hogan was around. He was an iconic in Mexico. He was a box office king at the movies. His movies were when he were playing with Pac and he wrestled in his movies. He played a wrestler himself while he went against bad guys like mad scientists, mummies, vampire women, vampires, ghosts, and all kinds of stuff. And they fought against him. I think this was in 1981, and El Santo. nearly had a heart. I mean, he had a heart attack. He had a heart attack, but he almost died. But these guys didn't they didn't go easy on him. They were, he knew he was already old, and they didn't go easy on him. That and they nicknamed Los Misioneros de la Muerte. Yeah, they nicknamed the Missionaries of Death. Oh no, if you look at their old pictures, they didn't look tough. Oh no, but they were really mean guys. Him and the other guys, and then you had the villains, Los Villanos. There were masked men who were known as the villain El Villano First, El Villano Tercero, El Villano Cuarto. Yeah, their dad was a big name wrestler back in the 1950s and 60s, and you had the Golden Arms, Los Brazos, three brothers. They were like a cop. One of them, the fat one, who nearly died. I mean, who died just recently. Who later on became Super Porky, had a name for himself. Him and his brothers, they were some tough elements again. And you also had the Dynamite Brothers, Los Hermanos Dinamita, Dynamite Brothers, who were a 2000. One was called 2000 Mask, and one was called I think one of them died. And now they have their sons are fighting. One of them is called the Stranger, and one is called Rustler, and one is called Samson, like Samson and Delilah and Lila. Three wrestlers are called. Wow. Oh man, you got a lot of guys that wrestled back then. A lot of and that golden era wrestling. You got Hannibal, Anibal. He was a great. I saw him wrestle back in 877. Mil Mascaras, mass wrestler who wrestled. He wrestled Billy Grant at Madison Square Garden. I don't know if he did wrestle Ric Flair, but he wrestled a lot of them guys. Yeah. You also had Missionaries of Death. You guys had, and they were called the Bermuda Triangle. I don't know too much about them, but they were tough too. Who were the other guys that were also tough? They were like man. There was the oh yeah, there were these two guys called the Devil Brothers. They were called no, wait a minute. They were called the Twin Brothers or something. Hey, Heaven, how are you? They were called the Twin Brothers or something, and they lost their mask in 19. I'm not sure when they lost their mask. Yeah, Coach, the mask match in Mexico. It's one of the best matches to watch. It's like almost watching a heavyweight match between Muhammad Ali and Joe Foreman. When people watch the mask match, oh man, I mean they get so excited and so violent sometimes. Mm. The last match they had was El Villano Tercero's son, Junior. He fought against a guy named, I think this was about a year ago. Yeah, he had this crazy he had this oh man, this is the kind of match that oh man, if McMahon would watch these, man, he would say, oh man, why don't we do that, man? Yeah, they also have the cage match also. The cage match. And they say the last person who's in a cage loses. That's the one they have it down in Mexico over there. Loses, yeah. But the mask matches, those are the ones in Mexico. the people want to see. They don't care watching the titles, the belts. They want to see the mask matches. Those are the ones that people, man, that want to see. Well, I think it's going to be one of them, and I think in October, Blue Demon Jr. is going to expose his mask. That's the one I want to watch. Yeah, Blue Demon Jr. His dad was one hell of a wrestler. One of my idols as a kid. Oh man, Blue Demon. Blue Demon was he also was a movie star. He did some movies with El Santo by himself. They make El Santo and Blue Demon versus the werewolf and Dracula. It was one El Santo and Blue Demon versus the monsters against Frankenstein, the mummy, werewolf, Dracula, the vampire woman, and a monster called Cyclops. They face, and there was one called Santo and Blue Demon against. Yeah, yeah, they can still fight, but the name, they can't fight with that name, the mask. Yeah, some retired, but they can still fight after they lose the mask. It's up to them. But not too long ago, there was a fight between a guy called Virus and some dude called Tiger Infante, and they had a match. Whoever loses has to retire from wrestling. And the Tiger guy, Infante, he lost the match, but he didn't retire. Well, he retired from wrestling as a fighter, but now he's a referee. Now he became a referee in el Consejo Mundial of Lucha. That's El Consejo Mundial de Lucha, that company. That's the oldest wrestling company in the world. I mean, older than WWE, older than that. This started in 1933. It's the oldest. I know back then they were, McMahon when he started WWE. I mean, he bankrupt all those companies, bankrupt all those companies. Yeah, he started in 1933 because in the 1920s, wrestling wasn't even in Mexico, popular or anything. What happened was there was this guy named Salvador Luterov, and Luterov was he had a furniture store, and he had problems with people not paying, the credit. They were missing their monthly payments and all that stuff. He had a problems and everything. So one day he was invited to El Paso, Texas, one day, and he saw a wrestling match, an American wrestling match, and he said, "Wow, man, this is great stuff. Man, maybe I can bring some of that over there to Mexico City. People will love that." And that's what he did. That's what he did. According to his son, he won 40 million pesos in the lottery, and he started hiring guys like guys who were strong men and everything to come and wrestle for him, and that's how Mexican wrestling started. Yeah, guys like there was a guy named Carlos Tarzan Lopez, El Murciélago Velasquez, Bobby Bernada, uh, was that El Santo, El Cavernario Galindo. He was known as a caveman Galindo. He was one of the meanest wrestlers you'll ever find. He had a habit of putting some jalapenos on his hands, and he would smother the guys with the jalapeno right on his eyes like that. Mm. Yeah, Cavernario was one mean old wrestler. Yeah, he was some mean wrestling. People hated him. They hated him. They thought at one time people started, people went outside the ring and they started kicking beating him up of people. And sometimes he said he couldn't even. He had to sleep in the locker room because he was so scared that people were out to lynch him. Yeah, yeah. He had snakes come before Jake the Snake Roberts. This guy would bring snakes into the ring, and he had some really, and he talked like this. Well, you know, like this. You know why? Let me tell you an interesting story. You know why? You know who who did that to him? Why he talked that way? I'm going to tell you who did it. You know his son, and you watch him fight on WWE he died several years ago. You don't know who Eddie Guerrero's dad? Eddie Guerrero's dad's name was called Gory Guerrero, and Gory Guerrero kicked in a match, kicked accidentally kicked him in the throat, and he messed up all his vocal cords, and he couldn't, and he started talking like this. Well, you know, just uh, El Cavernario Galito, yeah. That was his name. He was a really one mean guy. Yeah, ugly guy. He didn't wear a mask or anything. He would come out and cuss out everybody in the ring. And there was one guy called the Spook or the Espanto. Yeah. Sadly, he died in 1966 or seven, all because he didn't want to leave a bar, and the bar owner shot him because he started trouble. He told him we're closed, man. No more drinks. And he said, "What the fuck?" Yeah, the Spook. He was a one tough wrestler. And there was another guy called El Solitario, the Lone Ranger. He was called wrestler. He was one of the toughest guys, man. Psh. Sadly, he died in 1986. He died really young, of age 40. He was really. And you also had Dr. Wagner, and now his son is Dr. Wagner Jr. Dr. Wagner had a white mask with him, and in 1986 he lost the mask to his friend, the Lone Ranger, to El Solitario in a match. Lost the mask in a bet. You know, that's what they call it. They call the bet the mask. You know, yeah, El Solitario, and there was one called the White Angel, big guy. He was known as as they call him the farmer. They call him the farmer Vargas because he was a pig farmer. They call the farmer because farmer Vargas. They call him. They call him. Yeah, yeah. There was one called Rayo de Jalisco. He was a tough guy. He was one of the first guys that pioneered acrobatic wrestling, jumping and everything, jumping. All of those guys were my heroes as a kid. I remember. Mhm. Yeah, there was the one wrestler called Fishman. That was another friend. And there was another wrestler who, probably not gonna believe this. He wrestled Andre the Giant. His name is Kanek. You're not gonna believe this. He even lifted Andre the Giant, man. Yeah, Kanek. He's still alive. Yeah. When Andre the Giant went to wrestle in Mexico in 90s, in the 80s, him and Hulk Hogan and who else was there? Yeah, Hulk Hogan. Yeah, yeah, I gotta check. Yeah, I'm gonna go check. Well, not right now, but I'm gonna try to find out how many American wrestlers fought at that arena. Oh yeah, and also Abdullah the Butcher. I don't know if you ever heard of him. Oh, and also the other guy, the Uganda Giant also wrestled there too, down there. Yeah, because there they were facing the toughest guys in the world, from Japan, from Mexico, and from all over the world. Were wrestling in that arena. That was like the man. That was like uh, that was like the mecca of wrestling back then. Like in Mexico City, you have the arena called the arena Mexico. It was built in 1956, and they call it the Cathedral of Wrestling. I mean, it's like in Mexico, any wrestler who inspires to be a wrestler wants to wrestle there. It's like in football. You want to play football? I want to play in well, you're a Texans. Well, I'll say I want to play at Dallas Stadium, or in baseball. I want to play in Yankee Stadium. Okay, Coach. You have a good day, and thanks for coming, man. We'll talk some other time about wrestling and everything, man. Hey, you have a good dinner, man. Thanks for coming, dude. Yeah, wrestling is a great sport. Yeah, the greatest sport on earth. Yeah. Man, let's see. Anybody out there want to come up? I might put the link a little bit later, but we're gonna get some water. Well, gonna end the stream, but had a really good time talking about this subject, and I'm gonna see you guys next time. Thanks for coming.